have an opportunity and an obligation to lead by example. The state of our state is strong, and it's on all of us to make it stronger and kinder, too.
Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer delivering her 7th State of the State address last night, focusing on bipartisanship and efforts now to strengthen our economy, reduce costs, and expand opportunities. We've been talking about her speech this morning and reaction it's getting all morning long here at Fox 17. So let's dive in. We've got one of our strategists we like to talk to, a political strategist, John Selleck, CEO of Harbor Strategic. John, things are looking a lot different from the last time that she gave a State of the State address. What were your biggest takeaways initially from listening to her speech?
Yeah, I think overall, first of all, from a both PR and political aspect, she knows this is maybe her last year to get anything done. It's amazing. Governor Whitmer's in her 7th year, and she does have one more year after this, but it's an election year, and everyone's running for governor and secretary of state and AG and every other office. So there's not going to be a lot of ability to get things done typically in those heavily politicized years. So this is an important year for her legacy, for her to finish the main thing she wants to get done. And we've seen her essentially last night sort of like untether herself even from her own party. She's positioning herself at the top of a pyramid, more like she's an independent almost in some ways. She reached out to Republicans like we saw last week. She was in Washington, D.C., sat at dinner with President Trump, lobbied both President Trump and the Secretary of Defense for benefits for Michigan. And then last night in the speech, the equivalent to that is she reached out to the new Speaker of the House, the Republican Matt Hall from West Michigan, and repeatedly said, I'm going to work with you. We're going to get things done, like getting the roads done and other things like that. The other thing I would point out is on the economy, she sounded sort of like a Republican, said we've got to fix our permitting process. We've got to fix our licensing process to make our economy grow. And then she made a big turn. Not that she didn't support men in the past, but the messaging was real heavy on policy that was of interest to women. Last night was an abrupt turn because I think Democrats realized that they lost men big time to President Trump last year. And they also see it in the numbers for folks who are applying and getting through college or skilled trade programs. Men are falling behind. So she made a real emphasis on trying to turn that around as well. That's going to benefit the state economically, but it's going to benefit Democrats politically as well.
Now, do you think this speech at all was trying to position herself for the future? I mean, we've seen her name thrown in a lot in the possibly running for president in future elections. Do you feel like she's using this platform at all, maybe to position herself for that?
I do. There's no doubt that she's built up a valuable piece of real estate in politics in Michigan. She's well over 50% on her job approval rating consistently. She's chosen not to engage in difficult things in the legislature that would damage that political power. And she's only going to engage now on the things she really wants to engage in. And is going to say, I'm willing to criticize schools like she did last night. I'm willing to criticize state departments who do a bad job getting permits and licenses out the door so our economy can thrive. She's elevating herself above some of those things and saying, I want to pick and choose which things I do, and I'm going to focus on the things I know voters want, either through polling or her own connection with people. So she is trying to lift herself up to be somebody who could govern for a lot of different people. In some ways, I joked this morning, if you close your eyes and only listen to the words, it sounded like the template of a speech maybe that could be given by an independent candidate for governor like Mike Duggan, because she was working on both sides, calling out the obvious problems like with reading scores and licensing times. It wasn't a standard, I'm a Democrat and I'm going to go after the Republicans kind of speech. We're seeing a different thing from Governor Whitmer, and it probably is a template for other Democrats, at least in the current political environment.
Well, speaking of maybe one of the more surprising topics that maybe shifted from what we would have expected, I mean, obviously tariffs, the economy, affordable housing, those have been big concerns. But she brought up education and actually brought up possibly removing and limiting cell phones in schools. What were your thoughts on that? Some people maybe thought that's more of a school issue, not so much a government issue.
Yeah, I have little doubt. We, as parents, I have a lot of kids in school. The phones are an issue. Everybody knows it. Everybody's looking for some kind of answer. A lot of that comes down to the parents and the local school boards. But she also was saying, okay, schools are telling me I need some help on this. Give me some cover so I can crack down on this issue. You think that they should be able to do that themselves? A lot of Republicans like and value local control on school boards. That's why we elect our local officials. We should have policies for that. She's going to try to jump in here and see what can happen. It'll be interesting to see how Republicans in the legislature truly respond to that. We've seen Republicans put bills forward on that last cycle, and the Democrats were in charge and they didn't take them up. But clearly now, with that leadership of the governor getting involved, that's going to be on the table. That's going to be an issue that involves a lot of parents' interest and a lot of kids' interest, frankly. But I think what we'll have to see fought out is the issue of how much control the state will have, or if they'll just sort of set an example or influence as opposed to ordering it.
Definitely. So time will tell how far that comes, but definitely a shifting message coming from Democrats last night. But we appreciate your time always, and we'll sure to be talk to you soon as we get closer to the next election.
All right. Thanks, Elliot.
Yeah.